Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Let's do this. So, in case you missed it, you probably did, I did an exclusive update on my particular thoughts on the locks of the week in terms of retail side of things as well as Kickstarter crowdfunding side of things this past Monday as part of my Patreon exclusive. I'm going to start doing more of that. My, full behind the scenes thoughts, my full locks of ones that are going to be either hits or value keepers without a doubt from both sides. And so I'm going to do that on a regular basis for the Patreon people who've been supporting me this whole time. All, I think, 20 of you. So something like that. 29, I think. And I wanted to give a shout out to them as well. If you're not subscribed, check it out. I do this every week. But let's do the crowdfunding Kickstarter roundup exclusively. There's been a ton of stuff coming out this past week. I did 2 reviews, check those out, and just a little bit of everything else. As always, though, whatever, I'm just happy that you're willing to give me a chance and listen to me ramble. So that is truly what I'm so gracious for. I really enjoy the discourse and the conversation in the comment section, and that is the part of this that makes it all the worthwhile. So again, I just want to say thank you. Let's do this. Light change, everything. Well, let's go. Tons of small box stuff this week, as I've now got the appropriate mood lighting. This is carrots. As it says, carrot supremacy is the goal, and it's already almost 200% funded, $5,000, 41 backers. So what are you getting in this vegetable-themed game? So backstory, kids game. What would you say are kids, approved, kid-friendly sort of things? And how do you play it? Okay, let's go right into it. Most carrots before the harvest runs out by the farm, stealing them, or getting rabbit hole cards. Receive carrots via farmer banking, so collecting carrots from farming and or banking on the last turn. On your turn, you have one of 3 options here. You're either purchasing a farm, stealing, or getting a rabbit hole card, which gets you 3, using the bank, or gambling. And so playing your cards... except certain ones that were purchased the turn will be played immediately, and they all have different functions. The rulebook is right here. I mean, this is definitely on the lighter side of things, especially when you take a look at the rules and you get a little bit of the overview in the videos right here. That's like me right there. I'd feel like I'd be doing that. $25 for the game. So, okay, great. Now let's see what the rulebook looks like when you're going through. Again, not a very long rulebook. Setup, you have all these cards you're going to be putting down. You've got the gambling board there. Again, you're going through this sort of party 2 to 6 player style game. Once a card is used, it's played in the discard pile. Certain cards can be active for more than 1 turn. Let's see. Earthquake. Every player takes 2 of their carrots and puts them in a pile. If they don't have enough carrots, take them from the harvest. Each player rolls a d10 and highest gets the carrots. So it's that sort of take that interaction level of game based on that card. So again, do you like that sort of thing? Do you like being able to steal, as it says right here, from other players? Unless they have a fence up, so you can defend against that. So it's another type of that game with a completely different theme. Again, you've got sort of, I don't want to say your roulette side of things, but you can basically bet here and roll d10s twice and add those numbers together and see what happens. So again, interesting concept. I mean, the price point is low. I'm not surprised it's funded. But it's definitely a lighter side, party-ish, even family-friendly game. If you're interested, carrots, check it out. Next up is, I'm assuming this is Iro, how it's pronounced. I could be completely wrong on that, though. I remember this because this person posted it on Reddit, and a 2-player abstract game. I think they called it something like color chess, if you will, because of how it plays. Each piece has a unique color combination, tells you how they move on the board. And again, it's already almost funded. It looks, like my type of abstract game. Small footprint, perfect game to bring along anywhere. Again, as an abstract game, that's great. I love seeing that. Okay, you choose 12 of your 16 playing pieces, put them in the 2 rows nearest you. The other 4 are placed in the reserve. Again, that's kind of interesting. Gameplay. Perform one of 2 actions. Move, select one of your pieces. Move that piece into any space that is orthogonally or diagonally adjacent to the color that matches one of the 3 colors. Once a color on that piece has been chosen, it may not be chosen again that turn. Therefore, you move up to 3 spaces a turn. So again, depending on the configuration, depending on the board, depending on the piece, you may go. So what are you actually trying to do here, though? You may move your piece onto a space occupied by another one of your own, but you may not end your turn. Okay, that's self-explanatory. If you move it onto a space occupied by your opponents, you remove your opponent's piece and place it in the reserve and can't move further. And you can swap it with any piece from your reserve as well. Game ends when a player succeeds in moving one of their pieces into the row closest to their opponent. So all the way across the board. King me, if you will. I think this is really cool. I think this is really cool. I am going to be reminding me of this because I like abstract. This reminds me very much, if you've ever seen the other game, Kamisato, this reminds me very similarly of that, only Kamisato is done in a slightly different way and has slightly more colors that you are moving through, and whatever space Kamisato piece ends on is the piece that the opponent has to move, and you're just trying to get one across to win. So Kamisato is one of my favorite abstract games. So yeah, I'm probably going to be backing this. I hate to say this. I don't need another light abstract game, but this looks really cool. What's the price point? I didn't even look at the price point. That's how interested I am. 26 bucks. Yep. Okay. This is going to be probably one that's going to be really hard for me to turn down. I was not expecting this. I did not expect to want this or like this. It's going to fund soon. I'm probably going to be one of those people, those 120 so people. If you're interested in abstract, something different, something along the lines of Kamisato, if you never played that, also check that out. But that's Eero. Next up is RedLine, tactical combat card game, sci-fi, based on simultaneous combat. I saw an ad or two for this. It's over 50% funded, so let's see what it is. It's sort of got the mech side of things. I was never a big fan of the mechs. Were you guys? Like, that whole genre of, like, video games, and except for, like, Gundam Wing, that was really the only thing that did it for me. Okay, so it gives you your factions here. You kind of get to see what it is. So what are you actually doing? 64 card expansion deck comes with the following: 2 generals, these Ifrits, equipment that's going to be used along with them, strategy cards, tactic cards, resources, missions. So why are you getting this now? Okay, so you get a little bit more stuff, stretch goals and strategy cards. Okay, sure. Game rules. Okay, deploy phase, attack on the mission dials, capture missions, combat phase is simultaneous. All 5 missions to win. So are you building this? It looks like you're building your deck here. So it's giving you options. I mean, it's definitely different. It's definitely unique. We don't see a lot of the mech side of things nowadays. Okay, Sapper deck gets you 1. So 1 deck is going to be 18 bucks. What is this? 2 decks is going to be... 2 decks is 45? No. Oh, it's got the playmat too. Okay. So that's why it's 45 with 2 decks. Miniatures, you can get a little miniatures to go with it, and then the core plus the 2 expansions plus the playmat is going to be 70 bucks. So I don't know much about this base game one, and the question is whether or not this is going to be adding more of a good thing. Shipping is going to be what it's going to be. Obviously has some sort of backing. Otherwise it wouldn't already be at 4,800 bucks already. Definitely different. Check it out if you're looking for something more tactical with the mech theme. There you go. RedLine. The West Ascendant 2-player card game from Smallbox Games. Again, $5,000 already of the $7,000 goal. Let's check it out. The next card game in the North, Providence. 2 players take turns acquiring facilities and effects. And to cause the other player to lose points, you're using those facilities to in-game score and acquire new cards. Set collection, hand management, 30-minute card game for 2. I love this artwork. This is really cool. 10-day project. I feel like I did do another one of their games a couple, like at the beginning of the year even. So this is kind of cool. I really liked the artwork on the first one, if this is the company I'm thinking of. Okay, so what are you actually doing? Turn sequence. Pass back and forth, lose points, acquire new cards, score points for the cards in their zones. Additionally, lose points for each unused card in their hand. You have 2 different actions that you can be using. You may use all the facilities, but you also have a couple other different types of cards. So again, this has got a little bit more nuance with a smaller footprint than what you would necessarily expect. Now, the full rules are definitely going to be important here because as much as I like this quick, brief overview, it also doesn't give me enough of the depth or the nuance. So I think you definitely got to check the rules there. I'm going to click Remind Me on this one because I'm also interested. No stretch goals. What's the price point on this? Print and play, 18 bucks. I mean, so again, 18 bucks, it's very well priced. I can see why it's doing well. You get to see some of their learnings. That's what it was. Dirge, the Rust Wars. I did cover these guys. I was really impressed by Dirge, the Rust Wars. That was a really clever looking game as well. So I think this is something, if you're looking for small 2-player box type games with beautiful artwork and some depth of play, Dirge Wars definitely impressed me. I remember it vividly, and it was one of the ones that got cut short on my list of top 10 indie games for the first half of 21. 2021. But this looks like another just good game, good solid small box game from Small Box Games. And again, I don't know how widely available these are at retail. So this is one that I would really be, if you're interested, really be consider backing, because 18 bucks is 18 bucks. I don't think you're going to find this at retail or find it cheaper or find it much more from availability standpoint. So there's not going to be a ton of them on the market because there's not going to be like 5,000 people backing it. So check it out, The West Ascendant. I've got it saved. Next up is the trick-taking game Reapers, which is a different twist on the trick-taking mechanism and genre. And it's already funded over $3,000. So again, things that are funding well, but funding at low levels this week. Necromancy, okay. So they're taking necromancy and trick-taking. So how are you actually doing this? So you each draft from a pile of 3 face-up cards rather than being dealt your individual cards. Now, the winner of the trick scores the lowest value rather than the trick itself as a point. 4 suits, okay. 2 special cards. Your wager how much you think you're going to do in each hand. Scoring the fewest points, second most points, and trying not to predict all of the things which can be viable. So you're having a little bit of the, rather than just pick what you think you're going to get, a little bit of variation on that. 4 suits is 4 suits. So what else is going on? Okay, a little bit of the trick taking, a little bit of previews there. I mean, again, this is another one of those indie things. I completely believe that. This is, yeah, it's going to be a small indie game. You're either going to get it or not. Is there a rule book? I mean, I don't mind it. I'd like to see, I mean, there's obviously a couple previews there, and so I'm sure those will go in good detail. How to play, I mean, that's probably true. You probably only need the how to play video, especially if they did it. Or that's Taylor's trick-taking game, so if they did it either way, it's not going to be too complicated. It's a trick-taking game, so there can't be too much rules overhead from that side of things. Let's see the price point here. $5 for the print and play. Again, $20. Shipping cost is $0 for the US. So if you're a trick-taking game, I mean, I can believe that this would not show up elsewhere. So if you're really interested, I'd say you get this now and you support it. But if you're not interested in trick-taking, it might not be your vibe either. Like, I like the idea of trick-taking, but I just can't get trick-taking played enough, apart from the usual stuff that we play. So that's my biggest barrier. Trick-taking up here, great. Trick-taking, you know, actually down here, just doesn't get to the table as much as I like the concept. So either way, Reapers, check it out. Next up is BarristaCat. Now this is a relatively straightforward 2 to 6 player game, family light style card game where you are using set collection and sort of a resource management on these cards to collect or, you know, serve the most customers that you can. The goal being 10 customers before anyone else. And you can see these are your sort of your ingredient resource cards, special cards that are going to give you abilities, and then your character or customer cards in general, which tell you their cost in the upper left-hand corner of the resource cards from up here that you have to use, complicated by how much money or, you know, essentially victory points you get at the end of the game. And then you just play the cards that are needed, discard them, and then draw 5 cards back up, and rinse and repeat. So that's, I mean, the basic gist of this game in a nutshell. Now, the special cards are obviously going to add some uniqueness there. Doubles the money earned. Spill card causes your opponent to discard all ingredient cards that they would be using. $29. Again, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I don't see anything apart from the theme being terribly different on this side of things, but looks like it could be solid fun. I don't know. It's just one of those that the theme doesn't do anything for me, and it is more of the generic resource set collection side of things. So if you're a cat fan, this is probably a good game for you, but we'll see if it funds. I mean, it's over 50% of the way at the very beginning, but it's a short campaign. So if you're interested, BarristaCat, check it out. Next, we have Get Bit, the classic remake of a shark game. Now, this is only a quarter of the way funded. Now, it's a first day campaign, so we'll see. Again, about the $5,000 mark, 2 to 6 players from Greater Than Games. And so this is a really interesting concept because this shark is you just trying to get not bit, not eaten by the shark, and you are going in a line. And so it's sort of you're playing a card, and if you play the same card, nobody moves of the people that played the same card, but then you move otherwise according to the number of the card you played. And if you're the last one in line, you get eaten by the shark. You want to be the first one in line when there's only 2 of you left. Each round, whoever plays the lowest number gets to move from the front of the line away from the shark. Last in line gets chomped and loses a limb. Now, again, so you don't get chomped right away. So anything you can do to save a limb, winning's easy. Only 2 players left. Be the first in line. Okay. So again, it's not, you know, super deep. It's relatively quick. Low overhead, that seems to be the theme of things this week. $5 extra will get you the expansion. So what does the expansion bring? A playable shark character. Okay, awesome. Okay. Adding the shark into the game adds a 7th player, so you can play up to 7. Okay. Get some sleeves as well. And shipping is going to be, not too bad. Well, if you're in the US. Everywhere else is... So, that's Get Bit, though. I mean, like I said, relatively straightforward. Now, obviously, I screwed that up. It's low number instead of high number, but same concept, same principle. Check it out if you're interested. Next up, Tantrum House. They've got Season 8. Season 8. That seems more than I would have expected, but also less. They're just under funding goal in under a day. They're doing a 2-week campaign, it looks like. Okay. Playthroughs, group videos in the living room. Don't they have... That's weird. I would have thought that some of the videos I've seen don't look like a living room. That is the largest living room I've ever seen then. You're getting promos. Okay. Cool. Promos for a little bit of everything. Now, do you get to choose? Okay, you get to choose any 4 or all of them. Every item stars and nudist. I like to be able to pick your own. Like, I really don't like some of the other campaigns where they sort of make you get like a bundle of like some you want and some you don't want, and they almost seem to like purposely do that so you're buying more than what you need. But I like the fact that they allow you to pick here. That's cool. I like a couple of these shirts actually. Not that I need more t-shirts. My wife is like, you don't need any more t-shirts. Not that I wear any different t-shirts on these videos. I do like 4 t-shirts total. Stretch goals. Okay. So they've got a few, just like every of these campaigns. Okay. Okay. Just additional videos, it sounds like. Additional videos, backdrops, audio upgrades, podcast, new camera. Okay. Promos. There it is. So, Tantrum House. If you like them, check it out. Next up is Artefacts. Again, this was one I talked about last week that I was really interested to see what it was going to do. And so it's got 25,000. Again, very, very respectable on the first day, but with your goal of 100,000, I mean, and that looks like a true funding goal, how is it going to do over the next 3 weeks? That's going to be the big question here. 80 metal coins for free in the first 24 hours, 20 euros. I mean, that's not an insignificant amount, but also, how attractive are free coins going to be? I mean, nowadays when prices are going up and people are being more selective, that's going to be the issue. Now, they talk about this game, I believe they compare it actually to being sort of this Euro with an Amerithrash. I'm going to go with Amerithrash here, not the other factor in terms of going up and, using your artifact to, damage your opponents. The base pledge, again, is like $117, which they announced beforehand. So, I mean, it's not a surprise from that side of things. And the early bird all-in is 24 hours. And there is an expansion box, and then I believe the add-on metal coins are there, and solo mode if it's funded. Okay, there you go. They use Ameritrash. I don't like that word. American and Euro played in 2 phases. Strongly interact. You're building using resource management. You're fighting in the arena, and there's a lot of stuff. I covered this last week. The pre-launch page had all of these things. Why are you backing now? The designer, I think, actually commented on the video of the upcoming one last week and said, hey, we know that it's a 29-page rulebook, and we've got this 6-page primer that can really help you just get going and get playing, and then learn the nuances later as you go. So that's intriguing. But again, I mean, it's a price point. Modularity is important, they say here, making it, your own experience. So this is the rulebook that I was mentioning. A few of the overview videos or reviews, I'm thinking, or no, these are just quotes, it looks like. They're not linked to anything as far as I can tell. There you go. So it gives you a little bit of the phase-by-phase preparation. Gives you a little bit of the advanced modules of what you can do in terms of how different you can make each game in terms of the preparatory phase. 14 modules is a lot. And so I guess one of the other concern with that is, how well balanced are all of those? Are certain combinations going to be, slightly stronger or weaker? Fighting over the artifacts played on Tabletop Simulator. I mean, this is an intriguing concept to me because I'm not a huge Euro person, and I just don't know how much Euro Amerithrash overlap there is. Like, people tend to be a little bit more polarized and split nowadays, and I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about just the board games in general. Like, people who really like Euros are really heavily into Euros. People who really like Ameritrash are really heavily into Euro, really heavily into Ameritrash. And so there isn't as much overlap, or there is, but it's just fewer and farther between, especially within a same game. You just don't see that. And so that'll be interesting to do. This is a good test of the market. Again, having a good style and clash of combinations of mechanics. And again, how are you actually playing? I don't mind this, but the rule book, like I said, is a little bit longer, so it's not just an easy dive. And they talk about it in 50 pages now. So it's a work in progress, though. But that's why I think if you're interested in all in these concepts, in the steampunk side of things, in how you're modulating in terms of what you can do, and just as combine two in various different ways, best among using the available modules, and then you're fighting. And I'd like to see more, on the page a little bit about, what this does. I mean, add deceit to my game, add structure, buy and sell items in the fluctuating market. And I'm sure that it's all in this. I mean, you can see like the 44 pages or 50 pages that's in there. It's just a lot. And I don't think it's a tough read, but there's just a lot going on from that side of things, and it's a bigger overhead than any of the games so far we talked about this week, and it's a bigger price point, and people are being selective now. So we'll see what it ends up doing. We'll keep a close eye on this one, and if it's definitely of interest to you, I highly recommend you check it out. That's Artefacts. Okay, let's talk about Edge of Darkness, the expansion Emissaries of the Vale. Unlike the Everdell, because that is the closest campaign I can compare this to, where Everdell essentially offered latecomers to their party a significant discount, and people got very upset. Like, I don't understand that. Like, especially with Edge of Darkness here, it's actually, I think you're getting a relatively good deal if you go all in. And the Quartermaster, or the Guildmaster pledge gets you everything from the first Kickstarter for 125. Now, if that includes the Sons of Doomstar expansion, that's a great deal, because that was 140, so you're saving $15 there, which means 140, so you're $49. I'm pretty sure the two expansions, Cliffs of Cold Harbor and the Advanced Guild Pack, plus the Vale expansion, is going to be a lot more than additional $49. So you're really getting a good deal if you really like this. Because if you're just getting Emissaries of the Vale here, it's $45 for someone like me who doesn't have those other two. So, again, I don't care if other people get a good deal. Now, the question I didn't get answered very easily when I read through the FAQ, but also when I read through the page, is it seems like they're going to be doing a pledge manager, but unless you get a package, unless you get like at least this pledge, they're not guaranteeing you even access to the pledge manager. They say we might not allow late backers, we might not allow pledge managers, so you have to at least get one of these if you want. Now, again, what is this adding? Do you need it? Now, I think one of the criticisms was that these two expansions, the Cliffs and the Guild Pack, actually added some of the variety that some of the base game just didn't quite have as much from that side of things. Again, this is going to be very divisive. This worker placement, dice tower, or cube tower-esque with card creation, it's not going to be for a lot of people. And frankly speaking, I'm not sure even if it's for me. Like, I'm going to remind me on this one because I need to get mine played before the end of this campaign in 8 days. Ooh, that's not going to happen. Oh, geez. No pressure, right? So I know whether or not this is going to be a game that's in my collection, because, I mean, I love the conceptualization of this game. But again, it's one of those where, is it up here, but is it down here, actually? And that's what I don't know. And you're getting a whole bunch of new stuff. And frankly speaking, the base game is way overproduced. And so you're paying for the overproduction with this game as a whole. But so be it. Again, I think you're getting a great deal with the $189. One of the other things that I've seen mentioned is some of the tokens. They actually address it in one of the FAQs, like, are we going to have enough tokens and like coins or something? And they're like, well, it's really tight. And I think that was one of the other big criticisms, is that there just weren't enough in the actual first base game, and people were running out and not knowing what to do with them. Again, it's what they wanted Mystic Vale to ultimately end up as when they did Mystic Vale in the first place, sort of making their way to this in the first iteration, if you will. So again, Sands of Doomstar there. and the cities of the Cliffs of Cold Harbor, adding more location boards, because I think that was maybe the nope, it wasn't. It was the threats and contacts. I think that was the significant. So, oh, they're including this all in one. So, taking back what I said earlier, it's just going to be all in one. So if you can get that as an add-on, that'd be great. Now it says here are the add-ons. Okay, nope, I'm completely wrong. So yeah, I'm getting kind of hosed potentially then. If I go back to what I said earlier about the fact that those 3 expansions are essentially costing you $74, $64 actually. So 64, and if I buy them separately here, it's going to cost me 90. Yeah, man, I'm kind of getting hosed there. So be it. So be it. Maybe I want this, maybe I don't. I need to get it played, and I need to know. Shipping is going to be what it's going to be, which is interesting because the all-in pledge is barely more than the Guildmaster pledge. It's like $3 more estimate, which you're getting those 3 expansions. So I guess maybe that's not that big a deal. But it's just a completely different game than anything else is out there. I think it's one of those where you really almost have to play it to know whether or not you want it from that side of things. And it's expensive for what it is. But like I said before, I think it's divisive and I think it's interesting. It's Edge of Darkness. If you're interested, it's a good deal if you really like it. Check it out. Next up, we got Doomtown. Again, talked about this last week, the Weird West edition. What was this going to be offering? And this is sort of the new core base game, incorporating some of the, or addressing some of the detriments that were with the original game. And Pinebox Entertainment has taken this over to bring it back to the masses. So what are you actually getting with this game? This is a very interesting expandable card game. And with this, they're saying that they're not making it like a TCG. It's almost LCG-esque. Now, the other big thing that's a lot different than some of the other things that are in this same category is that there are 6 factions. So that's unique in and of itself, because balancing 6 as opposed to like what you're used to seeing of like 3 in a lot of these is impressive. And they're offering cooperative and solo modes in this Kickstarter. And you're doing poker in a expandable card game sort of setting. And they talk about it right here. But this is the difference. Base game set, 2 copies of each card. Each expansion has 4 copies, so all players can potentially have access. There's no rarity. There's no looking for cards that you don't have. So promotional cards are just alternate art cards. So they're glory cards, if you will. Other than that, I mean, it runs through the factions of the 6 that are in the game. They give you a little bit of description about what they do. And it plays out with 4 different suits, a la the original sort of deck of cards. And you want these control points by doing deeds, and you want to have more than your opponent's influence in the first place. Now, this is probably the part of things that I wasn't quite aware of and I wasn't quite sure on. Each player builds a deck of 52 cards. Now, it can't contain more of 4 cards of a suit and value, which helps balance it out and makes it a little bit easier. At the same time, I'm not a big deck construction. I have 2 big deck constructions already. So just from that side of things, I'm going to probably be passing, which honestly is probably a good thing, because I was hoping not to like a few of these things this week, because pledge managers be pledge managing. You know what I mean? Again, new good point, I think, as an entry point for this game. What's the actual price point? Okay, print and play is $25, $60. That's a lot more than I was expecting. I mean, 260 cards is 260 cards, but that's a lot of money for just 1 copy of the base game. Playset, faction sleeves, again, that's a lot of money. Now you get all of these with the higher level pledges, all the expansions. I'm assuming you can get some of them ad nauseum or ad lib. Now it runs through what each of the expansions are here and what the pledge levels are a little bit in more detail. Stretch goals, sure. Don't see whether or not... Okay, add-ons, you can get the map, sleeves, factions. Okay, expansions, there you go. So it looks like you can get some of those expansions as add-ons. All 17 expansions are all going to be available. So if you want to pick and choose, you probably can. Go on Board Game Geek and ask which one's the best ones and the most desired ones would be from that side of things. And like I said, it's going to be in a good entry point, but whether or not it's for you, clearly not for me, but If it is, definitely check it out. Next up, we got Siege Command. This is just over 50% funded. Let's see what this is. Now, they are saying lane-based tower offense game, 2 players. So sort of not the MOBA-esque, but sort of your League of Legends-esque side of things. Histories, distant past, tribe, going against each other. Okay. Lane-based strategy. Simultaneous planning and turn-based. Battle for control over the turrets in each of the 4 lanes. So, I mean, okay. I mean, it's got a nice aesthetic value. Let's check out what we're doing here. Expansion already talking about it. 3 new tribes. Asymmetric gameplay. Unique mechanics. Okay, but I need to know what those mechanics are. Show me. New mechanics with terrain. Okay, great. Comic. Base game is $25. Base game expansion is $50. Some stretch goals here with player mats. Comic again. I mean, the artwork's fantastic. I don't think anyone's going to deny that. But I don't see how the game is played. And now there is 2 videos right here. But again, I wish there were a little bit of just actual how to play. Because it doesn't explain anything on the page. So it's like, it looks intriguing. And I'm going to click remind me on it. But I need to see more on the actual page. And I think that might be why it's having trouble funding, especially when you're going up against some other big names right now. Of what makes this game unique. Okay, you say the 2-layer play mechanism. I see nothing on the page that shows me what you're actually doing with that. I have 2 videos that talk about the setup and the game overview. But I need more. I need more. I'm interested, but I need more. Okay, Siege Command, check it out if you want more information and are interested. Now we're going to talk about this again. We're going to go a little bit off subject because it's sort of board game adjacent, tabletop adjacent, sort of like we did with Avatar, the RPG last week. And this is from Wyrmwood, the high quality. Most of the time they do a lot of the D&D Dungeon Master screens, like the $400 Dungeon Master, absolutely mahogany, wooden, beautiful type of thing. But this is doing it for board games or RPGs. Storage. Mini organizations. You've seen a lot of this lately. This is becoming a really heavy trend of organizers, and I mean the whole thing stemming from game trays, but now everybody having their own little system of what it is. And Wyrmwood is the chip theory in that sense of this, where you're going to pay higher amounts for a higher quality, frankly speaking, again, probably slightly overproduced product. And that's okay because they make really good stuff. Obviously, people really like their product. I mean, you don't get $380,000 for this if you don't make a good product. So that's fine. And they give you, again, I like this. If I wasn't like man, this ebony down here is awesome. This monkey wood, this, I don't know how to pronounce this one, but the wenge, I'm going to go with wenge. But those darker woods really appeal to me. And that would be awesome to have on the table. And it looks like they're magnetic too and modular. So again, I mean, they're doing something unique, but I mean, with something that complicated and something that detailed, you're going to pay a premium. I don't even need to know. Solo tile. So 1 solo tile starting at $20. Duo tile starting at $20. I mean, what does that mean, starting at $20? So you get 1 tile for 20 or 2 tiles for 20? Card tiles. Okay, great. Card tiles. That's fine. It's a fancy card stand. And that's cool. Caster tile. Okay, nope. Combo tile, okay, great. A little bit of both. Tracker tile, that's interesting. Now, if you could customize the tracker on here, that'd be even better. Note tile, that's a little gimmicky. Let's see what we got here. Tavern tile, okay, so bottle opener. They're going full bore with this thing. So a rack to hold them, storage to hold them. I mean, it's just a high quality product, rolling, and so I mean, you're gonna pay a premium. That's what it is. That's okay. And if you're really into this, I mean, they make super good stuff. So I understand why they got it, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny at the same time. So is it better in these situations to upgrade what you're playing with or upgrade more of what you have to play with? So either way, if you're interested in something like this as an additional different storage solution at a premium cost and a premium product, there you go, from Wyrmwood. Check it out. Next up is Wild Serengeti. We knew this one was coming. This one is just over 100% funded. 600 people already. That's really good. My only concern was what was the price point going to be because of this 3D display that you see. I mean, the meeples look amazing, but it reminds me of Everdell and the tree in Everdell, and that was one of my big things with like Everdell. Like, it took so long to just like put it together, and just like didn't feel like it added. I mean, it's cool aesthetically, but if I'm gonna pay like $5 or $7 extra for it, I'd rather have it without. So that was my concern with the Wild Serengeti and what the price point was going to be here. So let's check 52. Yeah, I mean, that's expensive. So, I mean, again, stretch goals could easily make that worthwhile. But we'll see. So 1 to 4 players, 30 minutes to 2 hours. That is a frame. Puzzle solving, set collection, engine builder. So what are you doing? Okay. Perform an action to discover or move an animal. Place the animals on the map in said pattern to complete your scene, and collect scenes to create your own strategy of how you're going to be getting points. Find the winning combo, and animals are constantly on the move though, so you may have to change with them. Okay. Asymmetric abilities to start off with. I mean, this is really intriguing to me. The price point is really expensive, but I think it's kind of worth it if you're really looking for something different, and this aesthetic is really pleasing as well. So let's take a look at the rule book, as my voice cracked in the previous outtake. There's a couple of videos here that you can check out, but again, I think the meeples are absolutely fantastic. Those are amazing to look at, and I love the aesthetic value of those as opposed to like miniatures. But again, what are the stretch goals going to be that are going to make me pick this up now versus later, I guess is the question. So we can kind of take a look at the rule book here. We can see some images that were done. Stretch goals. Okay, so extras. So I'm going to get some form of a promo pack. But again, is it exclusive? What is going to be the enticement for me to get it now as opposed to later? Especially it's $52 before shipping. That's an expensive game for a set collection game, if you will. Now, what are you actually doing on your turn? Because I like the rulebook linked. It's relatively straightforward, so I thought I'd pull it up right here so you can see. You basically have 6 rounds of moving these animals, manipulating these animals, and trying to create these scenes. And so 4 of your basic 8 actions, they say, are basically discovering, quote unquote, the animals and putting them on a space in the board. And you have these 8 areas on your individual player board right here. I know it's a little hard to tell, but if you blow it up in the rules, it's really easy. And each of them have a cost in terms of coins, and there are different types that you can choose from. So discover carnivorous, large mammals, scavengers, or herbivores. And then the other 4 actions: swapping animals' positions on the maps, moving an animal 1 to 3 spaces, taking a scene pool card, you know, the things you're trying to do in the first place, or redrafting one and getting from the pool the 6 that are out there and getting a whole new set of 6 and getting one then as well. So sort of wiping the slate clean. I don't like any of the ones that are there. And you go around until you either can't do anything else or you pass, and everyone passes, then the round ends. There are a few free actions that you can take: discarding a few incomplete scene cards, completing them obviously, or spending those food tokens that you may get. Then it ends. It shows you then what a scene card looks like, so you can again get a description of these 4 need to be in 4 spaces in a row, terrain conditions that may have to match up, straight line scenes, different scene types in general, adjacencies and how that works. So it just runs through very simply, very straightforward in terms of that. The rewards that you're going to be getting goes through the iconography there, and a little bit more iconography on the scene cards, scene cards, scene cards, scene cards, and then just how you do the rounds and how these animals are going to be moving, going from area to area depending on what round it is, and what happens in each of these rounds to sort of change it and make it a little bit more unpredictable. And there you go. That is the basic gist of it. Now they have, again, those specialists that I mentioned that give you asymmetric abilities. So again, it's got a little bit more nuance there. It's got a solo mode. So let's see what else. Why Kickstarter? I'm curious. What do they say? Yep. 14% off promo pack. Okay, there you go. So a few more videos. Oh, bunch more videos, bunch more quotes. Shipping prices for everything broken down. Whoa, Cyprus, Malta, you guys are getting way up there. And there you go. And July 2022. Okay. So, I mean, again, I've got this reminded because I think this would be a very nice set collection game, but that price is going to be a little prohibitive from my side of things. So I'll be interested to see where this funds and what that promo pack looks like, depending on how many things are in that. May or may not make it worthwhile. So there you go. Wild Serengeti. Now we have Pretty Princess Pomelo. I couldn't resist. It's funded. It's got $1,000. I know nothing about this. The Magical Girl combat card game. You never thought you'd hear me talking about this. But you know what? Whatever. I don't mind it. Let's talk about it. You know, turn-based strategy, gameplay, destiny-altering cards. So, I mean, asymmetric heroes there. Asymmetric villains. How are you playing? Okay, you've got a video there. A little bit of an FAQ. Different types of cards, different decks. Is this based off an IP? I don't really know. Oh, a manga. They have a manga that this is based on. Learn to Play. Tantrum House did a video on it. Everything board games. Wish there was a little bit more information on how the game actually played. They just show you sort of the setup and how you're going to play. But, you know, it's definitely a different aesthetic. I mean, again, I'm open to stuff. If it's got good gameplay, I don't really care what the theme is, honestly. So, yeah. Nice little indie card game there. Pretty Princess Pomelo. Check it out. Next up, we have Dragon and Rider. Social deduction game. 50% funded. Let's take a look. And we have... a friend is a dragon. Don't speak English, so you have to find a way to communicate. It's a 4-player game of medieval dogfighting. 2 teams of 2. I mean, that's relatively limiting from that side of things, potentially, because, I mean, if you need an exact number like that, it's just hard to do sometimes. You have to have exactly the right situation. Prediction, deduction, teamwork. So it looks like you're given a set of cards and stances, and going to be doing a little bit of... paper, scissors, rock, it almost looks like, in a sense, with a little bit more of an element there. Okay, so we have a bunch of videos. How do you play? Gameplay videos. See the rule book. Let's see the rule book, because I don't really feel like watching any videos. So it seems like the basic gist of this game is, I mean, yes, you're 2 on 2. Simultaneously choosing a card from the dragon player, reveal your stance. Rider chooses a combat card, simultaneously plays face up. You're trying to play something that goes in line with the dragon's card, but then also is the detriment to what is going to go against the other team. So you have a stance, and then you have the combat card from the dragon as well, and you're simultaneously revealing those attack cards and seeing what happens. So again, it's kind of cool. It's sort of taking a little bit of the BattleCon with a little bit of the Yomi, like tic-tac-toe-ish sort of thing. So you can kind of see how things interact and sort of the 3 different elements there that sort of do the paper, scissors, rock. Power levels, speed values. So there's multiple layers of this. Interesting concept. Tiebreakers, 2-player variant. Okay. Just a nice little sort of combo of games that I just mentioned. So the artwork's fantastic. Stone Table Games, 30 people backing it right now. It's halfway there. Check it out if you're interested. So I thought I'd give a little bit of update. I know some other channels do this as well, but I thought I'd give a little update because I don't really do this a whole lot, and then things kind of fall off the radar and things kind of just disappear. And I think it's worth talking about, especially now that we circle back to some of this stuff. Flamecraft, for example, $928,000. Like what, 1 week later? So that's amazing. 12,000 people. Now, interestingly, we compare it to Arydia. And you can see I'm still backing Arydia. I haven't canceled my pledge yet. But 7,000 backers, which again is a ton, but only $961,000. Now, if you had made a bet at the beginning of the month or even like a month ago and you said which is going to have more funding at the end, Flamecraft or Arydia, I mean, we all would have bet on Arydia. But I mean, at this rate, with the rate at which Flamecraft has been going, I think it's easily going to outpace Arydia. Easily. Now, Flamecraft, as much as I am tempted by this because of these 1,000 stretch goals that they've hit and, you know, all of these extra characters that they've got going on, I mean, it's super tempting from that side of things. But at the same time, it's a lighter style worker placement game, and with a deluxeification that I just don't really necessarily need, I'm going to be ending up passing. But I would be lying if it wasn't told to you that I'm tempted, because I am. I mean, you see these projects, both of these, and you go, is somebody, you know, seeing something that I'm not? Now, with Arydia, I've heard you guys in the comment section, you know, I labeled this a little bit more upkeep and a little bit more spreadsheety, but you know what? I think this is, you know, what people want and what people are okay with when it comes to the upkeep in a game like this. Is just highly variable, because what's too much upkeep for me might not be anywhere near that amount of upkeep for you, and what's too much for you might not be in a different way as much for me. And so I guess just the question is this video game in a board game form for you? And they're starting to hit stretch goals. I think they just hit like an orc character, and yep, here they go. They actually list them at the top. So you've got this Feelish character, engraved dice, which are actually, those are really cool dice. Travel tokens, storage tokens, replica tokens. Fae is at the 1 million. So again, yeah, I mean, It's cool. I just I just I just don't feel 100% sold by it. And so that's why I say, like, I think I'm going to end up dropping my pledge. As good of, as much as I need to restate this, as much of a good value that I think this is, and as much as a safe value I think this is as well. Like, I don't think you're going to lose money on this. I don't. With the extent and the scope that this game is, especially with the little expansion that you're getting that might be somewhat exclusive and harder to get on the secondary market well after the campaign fulfills. So, I mean, again, if you're going to get it, you go with the extra mile, you go with the extra, $25 or so that it is. I don't think there's any question about that level and from the value standpoint, but it's just going to be interesting to see where it ends up and what else we see before now and the end of the campaign. And I'm probably going to keep it until the end just so I can see and make sure nothing else changes my mind. But Arydia, there you go. I love it when the camera goes out halfway through. I hope that's okay. Hope it wasn't too jarring for you there for that portion of things. But, I mean, it's just me talking and showing you stuff on the page, so it's not really that big a deal, right? Either way, you know what? I got a bunch of stuff coming up. I got a bunch of reviews sitting in the queue that I have to put the final touches on. I have a couple topical videos. What do you want to see next? I review on that thing right behind me. I'm going to try and get a review on that one behind me as well at some point. I'm hitting a lot of small box games. I'm going to try and get Drunagor to the table one of these days. I've got a couple other things in store, but, we'll kind of go from there. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a news video up on Monday. It'll just kind of see how the weekend goes and what happens. Yeah. Otherwise, tomorrow, upcoming video, a little bit of everything. Yeah, things are going. How are you guys doing? What are you backing? What are you avoiding? What are you waiting for? September's going to be, I think, a little bit busier than August, just looking on the horizon, but it's going to be very interesting to see sort of how this develops and how this changes. And as you saw with this video, there's always tons of stuff that sort of surprises out of the woodwork. So, I don't know. It is what it is at this point. Anyway, have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay classy, stay healthy. I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I really do. You guys mean a lot to me.